Welcome to Night Shadows. I'm Stewart Best, where the paranormal is normal, where that which you thought you knew, you didn't, and where the future can be known if you know exactly where to look. Well, good evening, everyone. Thanks for tuning in and listening. And we've got Larry on his mountaintop. Hi, Larry. How are you doing?
Hey, Stewart. Just polishing those eyeglasses.
Well, before we get rolling, somebody asked about what do you get on the Night Shadows membership, which is, I don't want to read it all simply because there's so much there. But basically, to start with, you get all the prophetic insiders, past and present, and a new one for April was just posted, and we'll have the Twilight for April up shortly. And then we have all the past issues of that. We have past issues of the Best Intelligence Digest. We have a bunch of ebooks up there, and these are the free ones that you don't have to pay anything extra for. The Truth Behind the Great Seal of the United States, for an example. Tithonia City, a thing about Mars. Then we have The Mystery of Christ. Then we have Patty is put together From the Lowest Room. And there's a lot of stuff there for the issues of real salvation. We've been fighting this issue of salvation for a long time because nobody really wants to believe it. It doesn't matter, though, because it's true. Then there's another ebook, Thunder from the Throne, The Game, The Day I Met Jesus Christ, which is about my encounter with the Lord, the Creator. Was Jesus a Gnostic? Babylon Down, How Mystery Destroyed a Nation. Let's see. Dark Light is up, and that's a whole manual about salvation and the lies of modern Christianity, and I prove all of it from Scripture alone. The Forgotten Commandment is another one. Then there's a lot of audios up there. There's a True Faith Combo, The Warning, and there's lots of fun videos, and also don't forget that Patty updates the Zombieland news for all those zombies out there, and there's a lot there, let's put it that way. And the audio interviews, one with Art Bell is up there, and all these kind of things that are going on. And maybe when we have a little longer period of time here, I'll really get into some of that. It's fascinating, and people don't know what they're missing by not subscribing to it. There's just a lot of information, and we don't put up any information that's not pertinent. We are fully aware of what I would call news overload. And so that's one of the reasons I don't do a show every day. I'm not going to just fill the time with rhetoric, which a lot of these outfits do. If we don't have any news that's pertinent, I'm just not going to do a show, because everybody out there that even listens doesn't have a lot of time anymore. It's just the nature of our civilization we live in, so we try to keep it to the point, and no fluff and no bluff. It's what we can find out is true and vetted. Anyway, Larry, what's cooking on the home front with this shakeup within the White House, which, in my opinion, is long overdue? The people he had around him for the border wall, the infiltration of all the aliens, et cetera, didn't appear to be going anywhere. Now, I don't know if it will now, but what's your take on what's going on?
Well, it's kind of interesting that, and there's a lot of chatter in the background, about Nielsen that just lost her position with DHS, was asked to resign, by Trump. Apparently, and we've talked about this on prior shows, DHS has not been following the directives of the president. When he issues orders, just carry them out. And they haven't been doing that. They've been soft touching and, kind of running alongside deep state, basically a resistance of a sort. And, he got rid of her, and then the next day, I guess now, he's got rid of his Secret Service head, which if you look at all the problems Secret Service has had, including a Chinese spy, and they're calling her that now, inside Mar-a-Lago, let in by the Secret Service to start with and then stopped. Somebody's falling down on the job, and I guess he's cleaning a little bit of house, doing a little house cleaning in the White House, if you will.
Yeah, because Mar-a-Lago basically is the White House down south, and it should have the same security that the White House up north does in Washington. And I'm just suspicious that that's one of the reasons he was let go was because he, lacks stuff. And, he may be very suspicious, too, because I remember I have the video of when Secret Service was called off guarding John Kennedy during the day he was assassinated. It's obvious that was a setup and that Secret Service was called off to protect him, and that the assassination was well planned, and it was an inside job, no question about it. It's like 9/11. Nobody wants to believe that was an inside job, but it was. There's so much evidence. Sometime I'd like to get involved in some of that evidence and how they pulled those buildings, the Twin Towers and number 7. In fact, the guy who owned number 7 said right on TV, I pulled it, which means he used explosives to bring the building down. I'm sure most people have seen these implosions where they can bring a building straight down. Normally a building won't collapse that way. It'll fall over. One side or the other gets weak, and then it just starts to fall over. That did not happen with either of the Twin Towers. In fact, I had a fireman call, and his brother were first responders, and they said the building was pulled, both of them. It was an inside job, no question about it. It's just that the American people don't want to believe any of that stuff. They think you're nuts if you talk like that. So I guess they have to go under the tomfoolery of deep state, which is still, by the way, going on, full speed ahead. Anyway, it was interesting, too, that the FEMA guy was let go, too. And he was the one who said that maybe we should just get rid of people, but we should, basically kill them if they don't follow orders or FEMA orders, but we should not do it in public view. That was kind of a nasty comment, and he was gone soon after that. So, I don't know. What do you think? You think he can actually do something, or is this deep state so entrenched that no matter what he does, it's not going to work?
Well, I guess we're going to have to watch and see if America really has a real border and can defend its own border. And if it can't, we don't have a nation anymore. I guess maybe we're Mexicans. I'm not sure.
Well, according to NAFTA, we're all supposed to be one. We're in bioregion number 1, which includes Canada, America, and Mexico. So underneath it all, that's probably really what's going on, because it's the United Nations that is issuing all these directives to let everybody in, and they're, by the way, the ones that are secretly confiscating the guns from people. And we signed on, and that's another thing where we signed on to the UN gun confiscation programs, and Nikki Haley did that while she was on board, and obviously did it with the approval of Trump and the administration. So one by one, little bit by little bit, they're moving America into the New World Order. I just fear that the final move is going to be extremely violent. Ruler against ruler, authority against authority, then violence in the land, and then we get destroyed. What is this deal about this mystery infection? By the way, before I forget, we're going to have Stan Dale on Thursday night, and I'm going to ask him about some of this stuff. And what did you want to talk about it all, the stuff you're finding? You sent me a sample. All I can say is, man, is that stuff strange. It's falling out of the skies down there.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Matter of fact, I mailed a sample off to Stan Dale, who wanted to look at it today. And what had kind of got me interested, over a number of days and weeks and months, we've been having this around the house, and I shared with you about it. And then, when I can rake up piles of it and put it in a container and send it to you like I sent you and Stan.
Yes.
There's a lot of it. I mean, it's not like it's hard to find, and it's a black substance, and the substance seems to be somewhat alive, if you will. It comes out of the sky scattered, but then all of it will come together in a great pile. All of it comes together. It's pulled together from wherever it is into piles, and it tries to get in the house because it seeks heat, apparently. And it is weird. It is absolutely weird. And when I saw this article the other day, I'd sent you a copy of it, and we had discussed it. But, as a matter of fact, I sent you some photographs today of where I got the sample. And when this article came out as a Drudge Report headline, deadly new germs, fungus, mysterious infections following the globe in a climate of complete CDC secrecy. And it's a fungus called Candida auris, and is apparently airborne, and it's going around the world, and a lot of people are getting funguses, which I have myself. I've been treating it for the last few months and actually making strides against it now using my doctor. And matter of fact, Holly and Stan put up a deal today. I don't know if you got a chance to look at it. She has something she thinks may help. And she's very interested in it, and they are reviewing and researching this new fungus that's going around the world and seems to be very resistant to all medications. So we ought to have an interesting talk Thursday with Stan.
Yeah, I'm wondering if this is not lab-created, or is this something that the Lord has brought, or is this something in the chemtrails that they're spraying all over the world? Or is this a final coup against humanity? I mean, they got to call billions of people. The easiest and best way to do it is people get sick unto death and nobody knows where it came from. Gee, this is a brand new virus or whatever, and we just don't have a vaccine for it, and millions of people perish from it. Of course, that's my conspiratorial mind speaking about how the rich men of the earth... Yeah, go ahead.
To go along with your conspiratorial mind, I know that you had Lyme's disease, and Barnett's had Lyme's disease. And listen, this last summer, I developed something similar to Lyme's, and my doctor said, I'm not even going to check you for it, because if you live in this region, she said, everybody in this region's got, is going to test positive for Lyme's. If they didn't get it off of, the ticks themselves, they're getting it off of animals that the ticks have been on, or they're getting it off of money that people's exchanging, or somebody's clothing, or a vehicle. Everybody tests positive for Lyme's now, and I know, Stewart, as much as they've tried to cover up that Lyme's coming out of the New York region, we know where that came from. That's a lab. That's generated by a laboratory.
Yep, that was definitely a lab-created entity, and we know from records that have been released that the American government has experimented on their population for years and years, and they get away with it because people just sit back and twiddle their thumbs. Nobody's held accountable, where some of them should be strung up for murder one. That'll never happen because nobody's held accountable for anything now. But it is kind of curious that as we are approaching the end, all of this stuff is beginning to happen. And what's really mysterious is the ability of what you have found to kind of get themselves together like it's some sort of either spiritual or magnetic force. that's making them clump together. Yeah, it's just weird, just very, very strange. Anyway, folks. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say what's interesting. If I had a conspiratorial mind, it almost reminds me of little nanobots of some kind. You know, remember Transformers, the movie? It's like all this stuff all scattered around, and then it all comes together into one big pile. It's so amazing. I never seen anything like it. Now, Stan is doing some research on this stuff I've told him about, and he's looking at a theory about magnetic and, you know, some of this. So, you know, and I live in an anomalous region, Stewart, and remember that movie Interstellar? You remember how there was a magnetic anomaly in that movie?
Yes.
And I almost wonder if I'm in the center of that, because everything is so strange up here.
Yeah, well, things are going to get strange all over, folks. What more can you tell them? I want to get into this intense April storm to bring heavy snow, high winds, potential blizzard conditions to the plains in the upper Midwest. And a friend of mine, a Christian lady, wrote, whether warfare or the Lord's doing. As I mentioned yesterday when I saw they were forecasting a blizzard out of the blue. When is it scheduled to hit? April 11th, 4/11 in our area. Overall expected to be heavy and wet. Crops? Gotta wonder how it's going to turn out. No doom and gloom here, just questions. How long, O Lord? How long? I guess in a way, Larry, does it matter if this is weather warfare or whether the Lord is directly involved? Because certainly he could intervene and stop it if he chose to, and he obviously isn't choosing to. So indirectly, he is doing it, even if he's using humanity's high-tech dark operations to do it. What do you think?
Yeah, that's really interesting, Stewart, and I suppose if you're living in the storm, like a lot of humanity in America today, I don't guess it matters. I guess it doesn't matter if the Lord's doing it or if he's allowing it to be done to you, and, you know, but we're the victims. Humanity's the victims, and that's what happens, Stewart. You know, you've warned for years about the blessings and the cursings. And we've had the blessings. America knows it's been blessed, but I think we've come out from under that cover. What do you think?
Oh, yeah, definitely. We've inherited almost all the curses now. And it's too bad because people don't realize the blessings they actually have every day. There wouldn't be any food on the table. There wouldn't be any plates on the table. There wouldn't even be a table or chairs to sit in or a house to cover yourself if the Lord didn't uphold it all. And we take all this for granted, but it's not. It should never be taken for granted. If the Lord turned his face away, it would all just cease to exist. And people need to remember that. Here's getting back to the diseases. International Space Station is teeming with bacteria and fungi that can cause diseases and could even corrode the spacecraft. Is this somehow connected with what's coming down from the heavens? Have we entered some sort of a space dust or something that we're just not familiar with? It's kind of like it all connects somehow.
Yeah, I've heard two theories, Stewart. One, I watched a video the other day talking about a whistleblower was saying that they had found some type of virus or something in Antarctica, and they had sent it to the space station for it to grow and to watch it because it'll do so much better in space. And that's one theory. The other theory is, Stewart, that I heard, of course, was from Sartre Fall, which talks about some type of Mars virus. And, well, we really just don't know, but interesting theories.
Yeah, and there's definitely something going on because we're in the last days, and there's no question about that. It's just a question of how long they're going to be. I want to get into some of the headline news here from your updates. Russian warships arrive in the Philippines amid rising South China Sea tensions with China. Russian ships were noted as 2 large anti-submarine destroyers and 1 Russian tanker. Now, what's that about? Is this got something to do with another area rather than South China Sea, do you think? What are they doing over there?
Well, we do know that the Duarte, the leader of the Philippines, even threatened China with suicide bombers if they tried to come into the Philippines. And so apparently there is contention. China's really flexing their muscles and distance. They're basically showing up all over the world, including Venezuela, and so is Russia. I remember the day, Stewart, when you and I were talking about, a few years ago, the Russian military, and we got emails, people just making fun of us like we had lost our minds. Russia didn't have a military. But today I don't think they're so loud in their mocking.
Well, Russia is very, very smart. They're very intelligent. They're way underestimated. Our good friend Vladimir is way underestimated. Their military is much, much stronger than we have ever given credit. The Bible even proves it. The Bible prophecies state that it is predominantly the Russian Empire, if you want to call it that. I know we had Glasnost and Perestroika, which are all just mythology, according to Gorbachev. He said that was just to put the West to sleep so that we could build up our military. Well, that's exactly what's happened. And the Bible claims that it is a former Soviet Union, basically with Russia and her allies, that all but decimate the United States with a missile attack unlike anything ever seen in the history of the world. And here we are twiddling our thumbs. Well, maybe, I don't know, I think maybe Trump possibly knows, and that's why he wants to try to avoid a war with them. What else is going on? I noticed that Israel's election is tomorrow, but isn't there stuff going on over there that is kind of like war rhetoric?
Well, that's almost 24/7 over there, the war rhetoric. And something else that just jumped in the middle of that is the fact that the Trump administration, Pompeo says, has designated the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. Now, that's a big portion of the Iranian military as a terror group. That's the one under Soleimani that's in Syria that Israel is bombing currently. And that's the one that has designs to take the Golan. Matter of fact, and after that, I don't know if you see the headline, but Iran is now threatening to, after they were designated as a terror group, their military to attack, U.S. forces in the Middle East. So we may be close to that Daniel 8 that you talk about very soon, the way this is pointing.
Yeah, we are close to war. I mean, you can have the rhetoric come and go, and the war drums beat, and then they don't beat. But we know from scriptural prophecy that we are headed into almost total global war, and the war is everywhere, and that mankind is being divided and pitted against one another, and Satan is behind all of it. It's divide and conquer, set up ethnic group against ethnic group, religion group against religious group, political group against political group, and on it goes. It's a typical divide and conquer routine, and Satan's used it right along because it works. And here is another headline: U.S. evacuating diplomats and troops from Libya. Is this on account of this general that is moving to take over the capital there, Tripoli?
Well, that's that matter of fact, Lou Dobbs had a portion of that, and One American News also covered it today, that we weren't aware we had a lot of U.S. troops to evacuate from Libya. And this is kind of a shock. I've seen some of the photographs. I think Hal Turner has photographs of U.S. helicopters that are loading with troops and leaving. and also military hovercraft are coming in just outside of Tripoli to gather up diplomats and more troops. And we wasn't aware all this was over there, Stewart. This had to have been set up under Obama and Hillary.
Yeah, I think we have troops just about everywhere. I love there's a map about, look at how, I can't even remember how it goes, but it's about Russia and how they really don't, although they're spreading out now, Russia and China seem to be getting together, and that's kind of a spooky deal. In view of Dmitry Duduman's prophecies about Russia and China getting together and finally decide to do us in. I don't know how much you can talk about this. India planning a major attack on Pakistan before April 20th, the headline goes. That's as far as I got with it. Is there anything you can say about that?
Yeah, I can read a intelligence headline off Hal Turner. He says that India is reported to be planning a major attack against Pakistan before April the 20th. There's your dates again, Stewart. Matter of fact, intelligence is indicating an attack between April the 16th and the 20th, and it's to be a massive attack by India on Pakistan. Now, you don't have to worry about vetting this much because I've already seen the data that Pakistan is so concerned about this, they've already contacted the United Nations and are clamoring for assistance and someone to deal with India to stop this attack because they believe they're about to be hit. And you know as well as I do that there's nuclear missiles on both sides. Yeah,
that could get really nasty, folks. Here's another headline. We got to close here in a couple minutes. It says, Foreign Minister, Syria will retake the Golan Heights by any means necessary. Well, that means a direct war with Israel. If Israel responds, that means a direct war with Iran because Syria is just a proxy of Iran. And I would think that probably Russian troops are still there. So we have this Venezuelan situation building, and more and more Chinese and Russian troops are pouring in there along with military equipment, and as far as I know, that hasn't slowed down. You got any more news on that, Larry?
Not a lot. That hadn't slowed down. Guaido is asking for more U.S. help because he feels like they're about to imprison him. They're capturing and imprisoning a lot of his supporters, a lot of fighting in the streets, and they are after Guaido now. And as far as I know, he's still in Venezuela, but he has safety in other countries like Colombia or Brazil if he wants to go there because their militaries would, take care of him. So this thing is just building by the day. I think, Stewart, we waited too long to really handle that well.
Yep, we should have gone in. If that's what our plan was, we should have gone in immediately. Now Russia's in there, China's in there, Cuba's in there. This would be a mess. However, if it's all by design, which I suspect because I believe in the Psalms and I guess one could call it the war of all wars against Jesus Christ, God the Father, and the Holy Ghost. And it looks like to me that's what the ultimate goal is to just get rid of the concept. And they're going to use war and destruction so that people give up Christianity. Well, where's God? Why hasn't he helped us? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's all part of the Matrix, folks. And by the way, the book on the Matrix we'll have paperback here soon, probably in the next week or two. And I urge people to read it. And if you join the Night Shadows membership, you get to read it for free. Membership, again, is $9.95. It's worth every dime you're going to spend on monthly. And you can get out of it anytime you want. Well, thanks a lot, Larry, for coming on. And we'll definitely pick up. And by the way, again, Stan Deo on Thursday night. So anyway, good night, everyone. Thanks a lot, Larry. Take care. Heads up.